You know what's really annoying? Every budgeting video on the internet assumes you're making like $60,000 a year and just need to optimize your spending. They're like, just save 20% of your income. And I'm sitting here thinking, 20% of my income barely covers gas for the month. Where's the budgeting advice for people who are actually struggling to make ends meet? Yeah, so I've been there. And honestly, I still remember the exact moment when I realized that traditional budgeting advice was completely useless for someone in my situation. I was making about $28,000 a year living in a city where rent alone ate up almost half my paycheck, and some financial guru on YouTube was telling me to max out my Roth IRA. I literally laughed out loud, like, dude, I'm trying to figure out if I can afford groceries this week, not planning my retirement portfolio. My name is Don. And I used to think budgeting advice was a joke because everyone's like, just save more, when I'm sitting here doing math to figure out if I can afford gas and groceries this week. But then I figured out that budgeting on a low income isn't about following the same rules as people who make twice as much as you. It's a completely different game with completely different strategies. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to budget when you're working with limited money, because trust me, the traditional advice doesn't work for us. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you want more real-world money advice that actually applies to people living in reality, not some fantasy land where everyone makes six figures. All right, let's start with the first thing you need to understand about budgeting on a low income. Forget the 50-30-20 rule. It's completely unrealistic. So if you've done any research on budgeting, you've definitely heard of the 50-30-20 rule. It says you should spend 50% of your income on needs, 30% on wants, and save 20%. And like, okay, that sounds nice in theory, but let me tell you what that looks like in real life when you're making $30,000 a year. Let's do the math real quick. If you're bringing home $30,000 annually, that's about $2,500 per month. After taxes, maybe less depending on where you live. According to the 50-30-20 rule, you should be spending $1,250 on needs. Okay, so rent in most cities is at least $800 to $1,000 for anything that's not a complete disaster. That's already your entire needs budget gone just on housing. You haven't even paid for food, transportation, utilities, or insurance yet. And then they want you to save 20%? That's $500 per month, while spending only $250 more on all your other needs and $750 on wants. I'm sorry, but that's just not how math works when you're on a low income. This is why I genuinely hate most budgeting advice. It's designed by people who've never actually lived on a tight budget. Here's what actually works. Forget percentages entirely. When you're on a low income, budgeting isn't about perfect ratios. It's about survival first, then optimization. Your real budget needs to look something like this. Cover your absolute essentials first. Find any possible way to save even $20 to $50 per month, and accept that some months you might save nothing, and that's okay. I know that sounds depressing, but here's the thing. When I stopped trying to force myself into these perfect budget frameworks that didn't fit my reality, I actually started making progress. Because I wasn't constantly failing at an impossible standard and giving up on budgeting entirely. I was working with what I actually had. The second thing you need to know, your budget needs to be based on your lowest income month, not your average. This one took me way too long to figure out, and it cost me so much stress and overdraft fees before I got it right. See, when you're on a low income, your income probably isn't consistent. Maybe you work hourly and your hours fluctuate. Maybe you do gig work and some months are better than others. Maybe you get occasional overtime but can't count on it. Most budgeting advice tells you to calculate your average monthly income and budget based on that. But that's a trap when you're living close to the edge. Let me tell you what happened to me when I tried that approach. I averaged out my income over 3 months and came up with about $2,400 per month. So I built my budget around $2,400. Paid all my bills, bought groceries, everything seemed fine. Then I had a month where I only made $2,100 because I got sick and missed a few shifts. Suddenly I was $300 short, and that $300 gap turned into overdraft fees, late payment fees, and a whole spiral of financial stress that took months to recover from. Here's what you should do instead. Look at your income from the past 6 months and find your lowest month. That's your baseline budget. If your lowest month was $2,000, you build your budget around $2,000 even if most months you make more. This feels really restrictive at first, I'm not going to lie. But it's the only way to avoid that horrible panic when you have a low-income month. And here's the beautiful part. In months when you make more than your baseline, that extra money becomes your buffer. It's your emergency fund money, your save for car repairs money, your maybe I can actually go out to dinner once money. But you're not depending on it to survive, which means a bad month doesn't destroy you. When I switched to baseline budgeting, I stopped living in constant anxiety about money. Yeah, my budget was tighter, but I knew with 100% certainty that I could cover my essentials every single month. That psychological shift was huge. All right, the third strategy. You need a survival budget and a full budget, and you need to know the difference. This is probably the most important thing I'm going to tell you in this entire video, so pay attention. When you're budgeting on a low income, you can't just have one budget. You need to know your survival budget, the absolute bare minimum you need to not be homeless and starving, and your full budget, what you spend when you have enough money to live normally. Let me show you what this looks like with my actual numbers from when I was broke. My survival budget was about $1,600 per month. That covered rent, utilities, the cheapest groceries I could buy, gas to get to work, and minimum payments on my debts. That's it. No eating out, no entertainment, no buying anything that wasn't absolutely essential. It sucked, but it kept me alive and housed. My full budget was closer to $2,200. That included everything in my survival budget, plus reasonable spending on things like occasionally eating out, replacing clothes when they wore out, basic entertainment, and actually putting some money in savings. Here's why having both budgets written down and clearly defined changed everything for me. In a low-income month, I knew exactly what I could cut immediately. I didn't have to panic and make random decisions about what bills to pay. I just switched to survival budget mode and cut all the full budget extras. And in a good month, I knew exactly how much flexibility I had without going overboard. Before I had this system, I would have a tight month and just sort of hope it worked out. I'd try to spend less on everything, but I didn't have a clear plan. Sometimes I'd cut too much and make myself miserable. Sometimes I wouldn't cut enough, and I'd still come up short. It was chaos. But once I had both budgets clearly written down, I had a plan. Bad month, survival budget. Good month, full budget plus put extra towards savings. It removed all the stress and guesswork. Here's how you create these two budgets. Start with your survival budget. Write down every single expense that would cause serious problems if you didn't pay it. Rent, minimum debt payments, basic utilities, cheap groceries, transportation to work. Add it up. That's your survival number. Then create your full budget by adding in everything else you normally spend on. The Netflix subscription, eating out a few times a month, buying toiletries without panicking about the cost. Whatever makes your life feel livable instead of just survivable. The gap between those two numbers, that's your flexibility zone. That's what you can cut when you need to without destroying your quality of life. And it's what you can enjoy when you have a good month. The fourth thing, automation is your enemy when you're on a low income, not your friend. Okay, this is going to be controversial because every financial expert tells you to automate everything. Automate your savings. Set up automatic bill pay. Make it so you don't have to think about money. And look, for people with stable incomes and comfortable margins, that's probably good advice. But when you're on a low income with variable paychecks, automation can absolutely destroy you. Let me tell you about the time I tried to automate my savings and it went horribly wrong. I was feeling really motivated about building an emergency fund, so I set up an automatic transfer of $100 from checking to savings every 2 weeks right after I got paid. The financial gurus said this was the smart move, right? Pay yourself first. Well, the first month worked fine. The second month, I had an unexpected car repair. That $100 automatically transferred to savings on payday, And then 3 days later, I didn't have enough in checking to cover my electric bill. I got hit with a $35 overdraft fee. So my attempt to save $100 actually cost me $35. Great job, Don. The problem with automation on a low income is that it assumes consistency. It assumes you'll always have enough money in your account when those automated transactions hit. But when every month is slightly different, when unexpected expenses pop up constantly, automation becomes dangerous. Here's what works better: manual budgeting. Yeah, I know it's more work. But once a week, I sit down for 15 minutes and look at my account, see what's coming up, and manually move money where it needs to go. If I have extra, I move some to savings. If it's a tight week, I don't. I stay in control instead of letting automation make decisions that don't account for my current reality. The only thing I do keep automated is my actual rent payment, because that's non-negotiable and I want to make sure it never gets forgotten. But everything else, manual. It keeps me aware of my money and prevents those awful surprise overdraft situations. Fifth thing, and this is crucial, you need a weird little expenses fund, not an emergency fund yet. Okay, so every piece of financial advice tells you to build a $1,000 emergency fund first thing. And yeah, that would be great. But let me ask you this, if you're on a low income and barely covering your bills, where exactly is that $1,000 supposed to come from? You're supposed to just magically manifest it? This is where financial advice becomes completely disconnected from reality. When I was broke, the idea of saving $1,000 was laughable. If I managed to save $50 in a month, I felt like a financial genius. Telling me to save $1,000 just made me feel like budgeting was pointless because I'd never hit that goal anyway. So here's what actually works. Forget the $1,000 emergency fund for now. Instead, build what I call a weird little expenses fund. Your goal is $200 to $300. That's it. Just a few $100 sitting in your account that you don't touch unless something weird comes up. And trust me, weird stuff always comes up. Your job requires you to get some kind of certification that costs $50. Your car registration is due and you forgot about it. You need to buy a gift for a wedding or baby shower. A belt loop breaks and you can't go to work with your pants falling down. These aren't emergencies, but they're not in your regular budget either. And they're the things that used to completely derail me. Having $200 to $300 set aside for weird little expenses is the difference between handling these things calmly versus spiraling into credit card debt. And here's the thing, it's actually achievable. Saving $200 feels possible in a way that saving $1,000 doesn't. You can get there in a few months by putting away $20 to $30 here and there when you have good weeks. Once you have your weird little expenses fund built up and you've kept it at $200 to $300 for a few months without dipping into it constantly, then you can start thinking about a bigger emergency fund. But don't skip this step. This small buffer is what actually protects you day to day. I built my first $250 buffer over about 4 months. Some months I added $50. Some months I added $20. One month I couldn't add anything. But I got there. And the first time I had a weird expense pop up and I could just handle it without panicking, that felt better than any financial milestone I've hit since. It was proof that I wasn't completely helpless with money. All right, let's talk about the final thing you need to know. Your budget will break sometimes, and that's normal, not failure. Here's something nobody tells you about budgeting on a low income. Your budget is going to break regularly. And that's not because you're bad at budgeting or because you lack discipline. It's because when you're living on a tight margin, there's no room for error, and life is full of errors. I used to beat myself up every time I went over budget. I'd feel like I failed, like I was hopeless with money, like I might as well give up on budgeting entirely if I couldn't stick to it perfectly. And that mindset kept me stuck for years. Here's what I finally realized. When you're on a low income, a broken budget doesn't mean you failed at budgeting. It means life happened and your budget needs to adjust. The budget is a tool, not a test you can fail. Let me give you an example. One month, my budget was perfect until my tire blew out and I had to spend $120 I didn't have. That completely broke my budget, But instead of spiraling into shame and giving up, I just acknowledged it, figured out where I could make cuts for the next 2 weeks to balance things out, and moved on. The budget broke, but I didn't break. The key is having a plan for when budgets break. When something unexpected happens and you go over budget, here's what you do. First, handle the immediate situation without guilt. If you need the expense, you need it. Second, look at the rest of the month and figure out what you can reduce to compensate. Maybe you switch to survival budget mode for 2 weeks. Maybe you eat beans and rice for a week. Maybe you skip that thing you were planning to do. Third, adjust next month's budget if you learn something new about your spending. This is also where that survival budget I talked about earlier becomes crucial. When your regular budget breaks, you have a backup plan already figured out. You're not making panicked decisions. You're just switching modes. The longer I've been budgeting, the more I realize that perfect budgets are a myth, especially on a low income. The goal isn't to never break your budget. The goal is to be so familiar with your budget that when it breaks, you know exactly how to adapt. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Budgeting on a low income is hard. It's way harder than budgeting when you have plenty of money and you're just trying to optimize. There's less margin for error, less room for fun, less flexibility for when life throws curveballs. And anyone who tells you it's easy is either lying or has never actually done it. But here's what I want you to understand. You're not broken just because traditional budgeting advice doesn't work for you. The advice is broken. It's designed for people with middle-class incomes and unstable paychecks. That's not you, and that's not your fault. What does work is building a budget system designed for low and variable income. Budget based on your lowest month, not your average. Have 2 budgets, survival and full, so you know what to cut when you need to. Keep control of your money instead of automating everything. Build a small buffer before worrying about a huge emergency fund. And expect your budget to break sometimes without treating it like a personal failure. These strategies aren't sexy. They won't make you rich quick, but they will help you stop living in constant financial panic. And when you're on a low income, that's the first step. You can't build wealth until you're standing on stable ground, and budgeting is what gives you that stability. I spent years thinking I was just bad with money before I realized that I was actually pretty good at managing very limited resources. I just needed strategies that actually fit my situation instead of trying to force myself into some one-size-fits-all system designed for people making twice what I made. So start with these strategies. Pick 1 or 2 and implement them this month. Maybe you calculate your survival budget. Maybe you figure out your lowest income month. Maybe you start working on that weird little expenses fund. You don't have to do everything at once, just start somewhere. If this was helpful, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. And drop a comment below telling me what your biggest budgeting challenge is on a low income, because I love hearing what real people are dealing with. Maybe I'll make it into a future video. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're not bad with money just because traditional advice doesn't work for you. You just need the right tools for your actual situation. I'll see you in the next one.